What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and I've been playing a lot of Halo: The Master Chief Collection recently. It's mostly just mopping up achievements and all stuff like that, but it really got me thinking. Everyone has their own different experiences with games and the characters in games, the story in games, the setting, the music. There's everyone has their own opinion and their own variation on it. And what I want to focus on today is it's a question, but I will also give some of my examples from my personal experience at the same time. So my main question is, what games, what series, or what characters have you been really emotionally invested in? Now I realize I say that as I'm using the Last of Us footage here. I personally don't find the connection and the emotional investment as much as most people did with The Last of Us. I did feel it, I did experience it, but not to the nth degree like some of the other stuff I'll give in my examples. I'm not saying you're wrong or anything if you did personally become invested in that game, The Last of Us, that is. But whatever. That's why we're all different, and I'm curious to hear what everyone else's stories were. So without further ado, we'll get on to some of my examples of what games, characters, stories, etc. That you or myself have been emotionally invested in. That made you cringe, that made you happy, sad, or maybe even shed a manly tear, just like Armstrong. Serious business. Anyway, moving along. So I'll try to keep this fairly spoiler free as much as I can, by the way. But the main thing that got me thinking about this video was Halo: The Master Chief Collection. So I've been playing Halo since Halo 1 on the Xbox 180, and I've played ridiculous amounts of time in Halo 1, 2, 3, 4, Reach, and ODST. I realize ODST is something different, kind of, and Reach isn't really Master Chief. But my point is, I'm very invested in the Halo series, especially the Master Chief related ones as well. But I'm fairly invested in the Halo series, so I've put so much time into that and following the story, following the characters. I feel like I've been there through their development and through everything that was formed and just throughout between all the characters of the different stories, and because of, say, what happens at points in the story, like maybe you finish a certain level and something happens and that affects the characters in whatever way, and after that, eventually, so where we are in the Halo world at the moment, between Halo 4 and 5, I'm pretty solidly invested in that, and I can't put an exact placement on it. It would definitely be number 2 or 3 because I'm saving my number 1 till last. But I can't really put a number on it compared to say some of my other examples. So once again, Halo, just not so much the Master Chief Collection, but Halo and the characters, the world, the story, the universe, everything that's happening, the way the characters handle it, the way it affects the characters, that really has me fairly solidly invested in it. And like I said, I can't put an exact number on it, but with Halo 5 coming out soon, we'll see how this has to play into the whole universe and story. Excuse me, or at least as far as the Halo investment goes. So that's the first one. Now again, it's not in any particular order, but, well, at least not the first two will be, but I'm saving the best and most involved for last, if you will. And so secondly, we'll go with Gears of War. Now Gears of War, I'm in the same boat. I've been in Gears of War since day one, since before day one almost. There was a show here in Ireland just a couple of weeks before Gears of War actually officially released back in the day on the Xbox 360, and they had full versions of Gears of War available to play up there, and I got in some good time with it, and at that point I already knew I was going to buy Gears of War as it was. So 3 weeks later I bought it, bought Gears of War, heavily invested into it, put a lot of time. I loved everything about it. I love the combat, I love the aesthetic, the world, the story, the music obviously as well, the characters, the voice acting, how it all played together and how it all worked. I'm a big fan of the whole what would you call it? Not war torn, but say post apocalyptic almost, or post war style of future and setting. So because of all that, I was definitely involved with all the characters, especially the Coltrane number one, best character ever. But yeah, so you move on, you get Gears of War 2. Obviously the story progresses, stuff that's been happening is progressing, and stuff between the characters and how it's affecting the characters is progressing, because it's a fairly gloomy, bleak time. And because of all that, it compounds all their troubles and their strife, it magnifies them. And I mean, it's really, really well done. That's all I can say. So you move on further again, Gears of War 3. It keeps going with the whole style, and it keeps going. Humanity's last push, and I just go and play them. That's all I can say, people. But it's really good, and it's really involved and really investment. Gears of War Judgment was a prequel to Gears of War 1, but it didn't emotionally, investment wise, it didn't have the same impact as the original trilogy did. Mainly because a lot of didn't focus on all the characters, and it didn't feel like everything was kind of going for the same feel and the same story. It was very different in its own way, and that's kind of why it's not exactly the same. So I can't really put it in there with them. I'm not saying it was bad or anything, but I'm just saying as far as Gears of War goes, I've been there the whole way, and Gears of War, the first Gears of War trilogy is where it really hits home for me. And I'm not going to bust into my last one just yet, but again, that between Halo and Gears of War, they're kind of like a mixed second and third place. I can never pick which one is which, but I don't want to. I kind of just want to back myself up or defend myself at this point, for the simple reason is you could, I'm a big fan of a lot of series, and I'm a big fan of a lot of games and all, and I just because I haven't listed them in this video, and they're not going to make my quote top 3 unquote, but just because of that doesn't mean I'm some heartless bastard who doesn't feel any connection, or it's like, oh well, he didn't get the story of whatever game, so maybe that's why he didn't like it. There's obviously other games that I felt like a bit of investment, a bit of connection with, but the reason why I'm using these 3 games are simply because they're the most impactful on it and the most influential for it. So I mean, I'll give some other examples. I love the Final Fantasy series. Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, 10. We'll throw in 11 and 14, 12, 13, 1 to 6. Obviously, that was in a weird order. But I mean, there's a lot of investment in all there as well. But the main thing is, I didn't feel as much or as deep as an investment as these 3 particular games. There's so many other games, they're not just role-playing games, first-person shooters, third-person action-adventure games. There's all sorts of ones that you do feel that way, and I'm sure you guys will feel that as well. It's just, I'm just focusing on the top 3, if you will. So, without further ado, last up, which is the number 1 most impactful game that I've been emotionally invested in, is Persona 4 Golden. Now, I'm sure there's many of you who are watching this video, and once you heard me say the number 1 was Persona 4 Golden, you probably just thought, yeah, I understand. Now, I'm going to keep away from spoilers and stuff like that as much as I can, because I would hate to ruin such an important game, and such an amazing game, and such an important journey and events, and just I'd hate to ruin any of that on you if you haven't experienced it. But the main reason for it is, again, I'm going to try to keep away from detail. I got the bad ending when I played Persona 4 Golden, And because of the nature of the gameplay throughout the entire game of Persona 4 Golden, you have all the social links. You've got all the ties to the other characters. Not just the story ties. Like, obviously there's the main stuff that happens and builds up the bonds between the characters and the stories, but it's the stuff that happens, the optional stuff. The optional stuff that happens based on the choices you do and the choices you make. And you can hang out with X person on X day and do some sort of cool event, or and it builds your relationship with that character stronger. And yeah, that gives bonuses and all as well. But every character also has their own individual side story, which you experience as you work up their social link. And it's just, so all them. They're just all the ones I experienced. Anyway, I didn't max out all of them, but I did max out a couple of them, and I got a significant progress on some of the others. But the quality of the story, just in general, the quality of the interactions of the characters, it's all so ridiculously complex in a brilliant, excellent, real way. And it's all done so fantastically. Once again, go play Persona 4 Golden. If you're a fan of RPGs or JRPGs, just go play Persona 4 Golden. Play even just Persona 4 if you have access to a PS2 or a PS3 in America, because if I remember right, Persona 4 is available to download on the PSN from the PS2 version on the PS3, or get a digital copy or a physical copy of Persona 4 Golden on a Vita or a PlayStation TV, whatever. Play this game. I definitely recommend it. But the main thing that got me, again, no spoilers, but it's the bad ending is what happened to me. What happened, what I was doing in the run up to it and during it, and the reactions and all after, that stuck with me for like a week. And I was, it's not really cool to say it or anything. I did air quotes there, since cool was obviously sarcasm. But I mean, I was depressed for like a week after I finished that game and I got whatever happened in that game. I was depressed for like a week. And I remember the day I finished it, or the night I finished it, I should say. I woke up the next morning. I was going to the gym really early with one of my friends that day, and I woke up and I was depressed as fuck. I didn't want to lift, didn't want to work out, didn't want to just do anything. I just wanted to stay in bed. So I mean, I get into the car and he just says to me, he's like, "Jesus, what's wrong with you? You look like someone died." I'm like, just leave me alone. But yeah, it's just that's my point. Games are such a great tool for experiences in, they're essentially art. They're storytelling in my opinion, it's storytelling in its finest form for this modern age, because it tells a story. And it's not just a story, but it's an experience, because you've got the music, you've got the visuals, you've got the characters, you've got the voice acting, you've got the gameplay. So it's all the story. It's not just reading from like a book or anything. It's got that aspect of it, but because of all the music and just everything else we have in games these days, it really works well. As long as if you have a great game with a good soundtrack, with the proper music in the proper places at the proper times, and with all the characters, the writing, all of that, it enhances it even more, and it becomes more real, if you will. Now, okay, fair enough. I mean, let's go back real quick and look at a game like Halo. Okay, there's a certain degree of non-realistic or non-realism in that, but you can see where it's coming from and where it would cross over into the real world. And the fact that we can have something like a film or a book, or I don't know, an audiobook or any other type that I may be missing, that we can have all the benefits of, say, some sort of amazing emotional music and amazing emotional story and amazing emotional visuals, and we can combine all of that and add an interactive experience to it. That's brilliant. That's why I was saying it's like modern storytelling. It's like the epitome of modern storytelling for the modern age that we live in right now, 2015. So, I mean, we get all these feels from these games, from the stuff that happens in them, the setting, the aesthetic, the music, the interactions between the characters' different personalities, how stuff affects them. It's all there, and it between all our different consoles, there's a wealth of just a literal vault of gold, emotional gold, if you will. Emotional would be a bad word to use there, actually. I think more I can't know. I've drawn a blank on a good word to use in the stead there, but you know what I mean. If you're listening to this video and you've got to this point, you understand, the wealth of experiences and the wealth of storytelling, if you will, it's all there. Be it Xbox One, PS4, Wii U, PC, handheld, any of the older platforms. It doesn't matter what generation. You can go 7th gen, 6th gen, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. It's all there, and it's all ready and mostly easily available for you to experience and enjoy. And I really do recommend everyone just get out and play as much stuff as you can that looks appealing to you, simply because most of the time you won't regret it, and you'll come away just thanking yourself, myself, or whoever that you finally got around to experiencing what you experienced emotionally, physically, intellectually, all of it, just from whatever game or whatever game series. So with that, we'll leave the end of the video, and what I'm going to ask you is, what games have you mostly been involved in and most invested in, emotionally, intellectually, physically, whatever? Let me know all that in as much detail as you want to go into as possible. The only thing I will ask is, in the comment section, if you're going to post something that has a major spoiler, open up with like large bold text at the very start so we see it, and it will just say, it's like, spoilers for whatever game. Let's just say spoilers for Gears of War 1 follow. Just open up with that so it doesn't ruin anything on anyone, because we don't want to deprive them from whatever experience and growth they might get from whatever. So I'm curious. Let me know in the comment section below what characters, game, world, story, experiences, any of that you've been emotionally invested with on your highest levels. Let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below as well. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.